Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to mourn the death of upcoming artist radio. After nearly 2-year run, I'm closing the doors to open up opportunities for new projects. UAR may be deceased, but Real FERM is not. Please stick around to watch as much of the video as possible, as I will be explaining what my intentions are, the reasonings, the failure analysis, and future endeavors. I'm not giving up on YouTube or music underground content, but some serious changes will be made effective immediately as this video is being watched. So as I said, Real FERM is not dead, it's just upcoming artist radio. I still see the value in my perspective and my own enjoyment in doing it and my passion for it. That is not dead. It's been a long time coming. I've been thinking about it for the past several months that something needs to change. And that's what I'm going to talk about here. I know a good amount of you are still engaged and come around weekly or bi-weekly or every stream, and I appreciate every one of you that has done that and contributed financially to help it continue to be streamed in the way that I wanted it to, but too much time has passed with not enough growth to where a significant restructuring must happen. So let's go back real quick to when I started this. Now, I'd always been a live streamer since 2017 or 2018 when I was going to graduate school in New York City. I started playing video games, live streaming video games, and got pretty good traction. I had a nice fun community of people that would watch, and it was a fun time, and I did that for many years. Some of those people come through the live streams I do now still. Shout out to you. You know who you are if you're watching. And then when I got my job in New York City, that was taking a lot of my time, and so I kind of pushed the gaming to the side, did it here and there. I wasn't taking it super seriously anyway, because I was also going to school at the time that I was doing it, but that kind of fell off and plateaued, much like this one has. But that's not the point. The point is, when I eventually was effectively forced out of the workforce in New York City due to pandemic-related issues, moved back down here to Florida and couldn't really find a job right away. So being a live streamer and having a sort of live streaming audience, and also discovering the whole trend of music review streams, being a musician myself of over 20 years, I was like, oh, I can do that. So tried it out pretty much exactly 2 years ago, and I immediately fell in love with the multitude of awesome talent that I had no idea existed in the super underground of the internet. Just great, original, unique sounds, talented vocalists, all that. And so I leaned into it. And then a few months in, I branded it Upcoming Artist Radio. Let's talk about the title for a second. Even to this day, the people I know in real life, my friends, never remember what it's called. It's a mouthful. When I thought about it, I was like, I envisioned it as a broad kind of SEO optimized thing where anyone that has the mindset of being an upcoming artist would come to submit their songs, and then we can all listen to them together and have a radio kind of vibe while still providing feedback. So that's where that name came from, and I stuck to it. It never really caught on. Again, mouthful. But my plan was to advertise it and get as many people on the internet that want to share their music, that don't want to go through the traditional terrestrial radio routes, to come through to the live stream and then create this community. Now, the tactics of sourcing talent and artists to come through live streams that I noticed from the people that I was inspired by was kind of gross to me. No offense to what their hustle was and everything, but I'm not the kind of person that's gonna DM every single artist that drops a new song on SoundCloud and BandLab and all these platforms saying, hey, you come to my live stream tonight, I want to hear your song, I love your song, come sit, which most of the time it's a lie, they never listen to it. And then they get all these people together, and then the numbers are big, so everyone's excited. Oh yeah, everyone's gonna hear my music. And then a bunch of people start paying, and then the people that were waiting for free, who have no idea when they're gonna get played because it's just from an email submission, are sitting there for 4 hours, and then they get frustrated. And then the next live stream, they do it all over again because they were able to congregate these numbers with this method of brute force marketing like door-to-door salesman type of thing. It kind of worked in a way, but when I would look at it, I would see this is not sustainable, and it's kind of gross because 90% of the people get frustrated and never come back. But of course, there's an unending supply of young aspirational artists that are desperate for attention and hungry to have their music heard, so they just keep falling in. But the average artist doesn't really come back because they know, oh, unless I have $10, $20 to spend to get it played right away, I'm not going to get played. So that's when my optimization problem-solving brain kicked in. I'm like, well, we need a queue. We need transparency so that people know exactly what they are getting themselves into, when they're going to get played, yada, yada. So I invest a lot of money, not that much, but it may be a lot to you, upwards over $1,000 and counting, to create this mobile and desktop web app where you can submit and see your position and track it in real time and know when you're going to get played. Now, by doing this, I thought that was awesome. A lot of people revered it and was like, this is the best system I've ever seen for these types of streams, which I agreed, but I kind of shot myself in the foot with it because it also encourages people that are submitting to not really stick around because they know when they're going to get played, as opposed to getting baited in and with the hopes that you might get played at any time and there's 80 people watching, so I might as well stick around. But here it's like, oh, there's only like 20 people watching and I know when I'm going to get played, so I'll come back. And that's the nature of the audience, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, the main reason why I have to stop Upcoming Artist Radio is, for all intents and purposes, if Upcoming Artist Radio was a business itself, it is effectively bankrupt. The funds that it takes to keep that website going, I mean, it's not that much, but compared to the income that's generated from donations from the live streams, it is no longer in my financial interest to keep it going. And I should have seen this earlier, but I got stuck in the routine and I still believed in it and people believed in it. But the other thing is, I'm a terrible marketer. I'm a terrible salesman. I hate marketing myself. It makes me feel weird. I like to just kind of hope the algorithm takes care of it and people share it around, which people have, and the algorithm did work, but it's not enough. And I don't have a team behind me, which is another big problem, doing it all by myself, aside from getting help from web developers and whatnot. In terms of like a team that's like, all right, I'm going to work on this with you, but little people want to do that for free, and I don't have the money to pay them as a job. So there's that. Now, before I go further, you might be thinking, oh, that's okay, just go back to submitting through email. And yes, the concept is not dead. I will get into my ideas for the future towards the end, but I want to continue doing a little bit of a failure analysis because I like to get it off my chest because I think about this a lot, and I think it could be helpful for anyone that's considering launching a creative project like this, not just in this live streaming type of content, but anything. So another issue, which is more of a personal issue with my own psychology, is the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the recap, and then just all of this stuff that goes into it takes up a certain amount of mental energy and bandwidth to keep it going the way, in the most professional way that I like to do it. Again, with no external help. That combined with other things I'm doing in the background, IRL community stuff, which is also mostly free work. I had zero bandwidth to pursue anything that actually generates significant income. So the problem isn't just that I was fully occupied with all the things I'm doing. Problem is 90% of the things I'm doing, including Upcoming Artist Radio, are just not generating profit at all, essentially, and income to even upkeep it, which is why I have to close the doors on the website, which makes me just want to rebrand everything combined with the name and all of that. So it's run its course, and I hate to get into the position of everything's about money now, because that's when I see people with the hustler mentality. Again, no disrespect to those people. Get your money, get your bag, that's all good, but I think too much about fucking people over in the music industry and preying on the passions of artists artists. I'm too aware of that, and it bothers me, so I can't participate in that type of marketing tactics, so to speak, as I mentioned previously. So, I mean, even if somehow the live stream activity, the viewership, the donations, the tips were back to where they were at its height, at this point, it would still not cover the costs. Maybe it would cover the cost, but it's just the growth is not going up enough to foresee that this is a successful endeavor that I should continue to put so much time into. So unfortunately, I do believe it has run its course. That being said, I like to use this nice analogy of growing a plant. The seed that I have, I think, is a beautiful, awesome seed of great potential. It's just the nourishment of the soil, the sunlight, of the algorithm. It just has not lined up over the course of these 2 years enough for it to grow. But I'm keeping the seed, and I'm going to plant it in other ways. So I'm not giving up. I'm not closing the channel down. We'll see what happens. I am looking into getting serious jobs, which may significantly reduce the content that I'm able to produce, but that's a story for another time, and if it even happens. The job market's pretty bad, especially with what I specialize in, which is physics and science and research. That's a booming market, but not in the area that I live, and I don't really want to relocate at this moment. So I want to pivot back to the overview of the analysis of what went wrong here. My financial situation at the time of starting it was, I had a bunch of savings. I wasn't seeing a job that I was liking at the time, and I felt like I had this period of experimenting with entrepreneurial endeavors, so to speak. And so I invested my time and money into this upcoming artist radio brand and whatnot. I didn't really have a real business plan. If you're going to invest money and a lot of time into something that you think will be profitable in the long run, have a business plan and have a team behind you. You can't do everything by yourself, especially stuff like this. And I mentioned this before, but it's worth noting again, the Q website, which is essentially the source of why I have to stop this because it's too expensive to keep running. I think it's still an awesome thing, not optimized enough in the way that it could be, but again, that takes a lot more money to develop it into a very advanced system and integrate it with the stream and all that. I knew it would stand out as the only music review stream, even though I don't like to call it that because I don't really do what I would call a proper review, but it's more of a feedback, radio. That's why I use the term radio. I wanted it to be like we're listening to underground music together and we can give our opinions and move to the next song. But as good of a user experience and production value that added to the streams, it hurt just as much because of the nature of the audience. It encourages and allows people, artists, to submit their track, know that it's going to be played, and check back on it without having to watch the stream at all. And I knew that, but I was just kind of hoping that the numbers would continue to grow such that it wouldn't really matter. But as you've seen thus far, that is not the case anymore. So let's talk about the numbers, live streaming numbers. By the way, I don't look at the live viewer count, and I haven't looked at it since 1 year into streaming video games because every time I would see it move and stuff, it would affect my mood in the moment and then screw up my focus, and I was too sensitive to it. So I never looked at the live view count as it was happening. Of course, I would see it afterwards and wasn't completely ignoring it. But based on the submission volume over the last 2 weeks, it has gone drastically down. Now, of course, there's been, over the 2 years, there's been rises and falls and rises and plateaus and then rises and fall. But lately, it has truly been the most fallingness that I've experienced in the all of the 2 years since I started. And so here's another analogy. Think of a bar or a party. 2 bars, 2 parties, whatever, going on the same street. One of them is extravagant and all kinds of awesome stuff going on, but there's only like 3 people in there talking to each other. There's a disco ball or whatever, but then the party or bar down the street has 100 people packed in and everyone's going crazy and it's dingy and whatever, the average person's going to see that and be like, oh, that's where the action's at, I'm going to go there. And then the invested high value environment is ignored because people are people and they want to be with other people. Totally understand. So that's essentially what it seems has happened here. Again, the nature of the audience as artists. Now, before I continue to speak on this, I am not disparaging anyone or accusing anyone of certain behavior or being selfish or whatever. I fully understand the mindset. Artists are there to get their song played, to get feedback on it, and to get some extra ears on it, whatever. A very small percentage of them want to stick around and hear what other people are making. Totally get it. They don't have patience because they're working on other music, or they want to send it into another stream to get different feedback, which I would always encourage, because as an artist, you want as much feedback as possible, because if your song ever gets into the public eye, you're going to have a lot of different opinions on it. So you need a lot of opinions on it beforehand to give you the most insight as to how the public is going to vibe with your style. So this is the nature of this audience for this live stream. It is what it is. I could have implemented more interesting, entertaining things, but ultimately the main demographic of people coming through are there to get their song played and then they're out. And in the live streaming business, you need numbers to attract more people. So if people keep coming and going, the number just stays the same, and then you don't get as many new people coming through to check it out. So what ended up happening is just a lot of regulars and repeats, which is great. I thought it's a cool, like, tight-knit community. I know, like, a lot of history of the songs that were sent in by the returning artists, and a lot of them, particularly the more polished, high production value artists, would only come through every 2 or so weeks when they had something that they really wanted to share. Again, completely understandable. So without the guerrilla marketing of spamming everyone's DMs to come join the live stream, which I refuse to do, that's just what it's going to be for the foreseeable future. And I at one point I did look into like hiring a social media marketer, but it's just a lot of money, and even to get yourself in the door, you have to invest so much time and effort to even get a consultation, and he's like, is it even going to work? It's just too overwhelming to do by myself, and that's that. Also, moderate to severe depression from the past year of being essentially unemployed and doing gig work and just losing all my money has not helped any motivation. So I got stuck into an OCD routine of just keep doing the same thing, and it becomes stagnant. So that's why I feel like I need to break the cycle and just start fresh with something else. In the same nature, but something else. A new invigoration, a new project, so to speak. So I'm going to take a full break from doing music submission live streams. Maybe at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, we'll see. Because at this point, it's better to dedicate my nights to getting the dinner rush on DoorDash and making a lot more money than I would listening to people's music. I would much prefer to listen to people's music than deliver food in traffic, but that's life. It ain't always fair. It's almost always never fair, as you probably already know. Now, the website queue system, it's not destroyed, it's not disappearing. I mean, the website will no longer be active or usable, but I still have the code and everything. I can re-implement it if I get back to a point where I have the funds and the team to really build it back up, but that's just going to sit on the back burner for now. I need to leave it behind. Again, I think it's good for me, for my psychology, to just reset and put my effort into a new project that is similar, but also other projects. For example, making my own music again on the guitar. Stay tuned for that. Don't unsubscribe. If you want to, you can, but cool stuff's gonna be happening. If you want to support me, you can become a channel member. Member exclusive content will be a thing at some point, and you can stand firm with the Stand Firm t-shirt at 56cents.store, FIVESIXSENSE.store. There's some other cool designs on there. Me and Rockstar Life partnered to create that. And there's a FERM collection, and this is the first one of the FERM collection, so you can buy that. I think it's $19.56, plus shipping and handling, of course. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, I'm not asking for money to revive this. It's dead. We played the taps. We did the ceremony. It's over. Maybe I'll do one final upcoming artist radio top 10 or whatever like I did for last year, but just from all of them, or at least the 5 months that I've been doing it from this year as one last death rattle, so to speak. But a positive death rattle. Now getting to the future, I'm working on a new concept for music submission live streams. I'm thinking about just calling it Real Firm Radio, which is what I should have called it all along. It makes sense. I picked upcoming artist radio because I thought it would appeal to a more broader audience, because nobody knows who Real Firm is except for you guys. But I think it's better to just focus on the inner community, and then hopefully other things can sprout from that. So now's the time. If you made it this far, thank you so much. By the way, hit the like button and leave a comment with any suggestions that you'd like to see in the new live stream format, segments, the way that the songs are picked. I was kind of thinking opening submissions like 24 hours in advance and then randomizing them, aside from paid priorities and memberships. If you're a member, that will carry on, and the Patreon and everything into this new project, of course. And if you want to partner with me in any way, shape, or form, help me out, become part of the team. As I mentioned prior, you need a team for something big to come together like this, which I did not have for the whole 2 years. Hit me up. Serious people only. There's too much of everyone trying to do their own thing now, and I'm guilty of it myself. Here we are, trying to do my own thing. But if you're somebody that wants to be a part of something that someone's already doing, and not dedicate your whole life to it unless you want to, stuff like dedicated mods, helping with administrative stuff. There's no immediate pay offerings, but I will guarantee that if you help me out, you can even write up a contract. You can have some equity in the property of the Real Firm, intellectual property, shows, whatever the hell. So yeah, that's that. Maybe upload style reviews, competition, stuff like that. I really need to do that. And I think taking a break from the upcoming artist radio schedule cycle that I've been going through, breaking out of that will really help me to motivate to start new things that I was given suggestions for before and I liked. Again, the depression, the anxiety, I just could not motivate myself to start those, and I'm ashamed of it, but it is what it is. Mental health struggles. So I think that's about it for this. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining as we mourn the death of upcoming artist radio. I appreciate everyone who's been a part of it, who's contributed. Shout out to you. Best of luck in your careers, but I hope to see you in the future, Real Firm Radio, or whatever it ends up being. I still want to listen to y'all's music. I still want to hear what the underground is creating, the undiscovered, the underappreciated. That's still my main focus with these new projects. So stick around. There'll be more of that, just in a different package. Once again, Real Firm, still alive. And in the meantime, the next week or two, find another music review stream that you like and submit your tracks there to get your feedback. So those are my final words. Peace and love, and I'm excited to start a new journey of the Real Firm endeavors. God bless.